I breathe the wild blood, the ancient design. The shapers of Asgard built towers of stone, but the dirt holds the claim of the marrow and bone. I feed the brood on the flesh of the dead. Soon the sky will be painted with a fog of red. Hear the pack align, hear the iron pine.
The silver wheel will break, the mother's power wakes.
Yarn with the ironwood and iron bar. Yarn with the witches on a shadow throne.
Rise up the claws,
Swallow the sun. The doom of usurpers has just begun. Now, Skull hunts the daylight, Hati hunts the moon. The cage of their order will shatter out soon. I cradle the hunter, I harbor the jaws that answer to nothing but older raw laws. The winter is waking, the shadow line draws. No walls of the tyrants can hold back our claws. Yarn with the ironwood and iron bar. Yarn with the witches on her shadow throne. Rise up the claws, swallow the sun. Doom of usurpers has just begun. Now, Takala! Tear them asunder, tear them asunder, tear them asunder, tear them asunder, tear them asunder. Near Banbridge town in the county down, one morning in July, from a bohin green I was clearly seen as I went traipsing by. He stood quite still as if struck by a chill or a vision of ancient grace, and he gazed with a stare at my nut-brown hair till the blood rushed to his face. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no lad I've seen has a look so keen as I saw here in County Down. I gave no sign as he watched the line of my shadow as I passed, but I felt the heat of his gaze so sweet, and I knew the spell was cast. He gripped his walking stick with a hand so quick as he tripped o'er his feet. For a lad so bold, he was knocked from his hold by a girl that he chanced to meet. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no lad I've met hasn't a name to set 'gainst the star of the County Down. Now they say he's gone to the Harvest Fair with the heart all in a knot, to ask my name and to play the game and to find my humble cot. Well, let him come and let him drum his fingers on the door. If he's half the wit as he's got the grit, I might like him a wee bit more. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, ne'er a lad I've sought has a heart so caught by the star of the County Down.
Welcome back, friends and companions, to another beautiful evening in the tavern for stories. I do apologize, it's been so long. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely hectic for the lady and I, but I appreciate you all being patient with us as we're going through some changes here at the tavern. It is deeply appreciated, and I'm glad to see you all. So good to be back in the storyteller's chair at the start of a beautiful night for stories. Don't get old, boys and girls. I slept badly last night. I think I pulled a muscle across my chest and upper back. Isn't it the word? Like, it's one thing if you pull something while you're awake, right? If you pull a muscle while you're doing work, right? That's one thing. But if you pull a muscle when you were doing nothing, it's terrible. Like, I have monstrous sneezes. I sneeze like a foghorn. And it's not like a dad sneeze where like I'm intentionally making a loud noise. I will sneeze and then I'll like pull a rib or hurt my shoulder or my fingers will start to hurt. Milu, hello, hello. There's no good story to go with it. It's just horrible. Yeah, like, oh, you could be like, I was fighting I was a pirate. My ship was being boarded by pirates, and in the fight, I pulled a muscle in my chest. They're like, wow, did that really happen? Well, no, I was dreaming and it happened in my sleep. But this is how I'm going to tell the story. You know. You have to be over 30 to hurt yourself sleeping. That is what they say. But in fairness, I've been hurting myself in my sleep since I was in my teens. So I guess I've been old for a while. Huzzah! The Emeralds lady is on a 5-stream streak. Congratulations. And let's go ahead and raise a glass. Jody has bought us a round for the tavern. I just saw Mozart followed. What? Mozart followed... Oh, over on TikTok. Oh, Howard, hello, my friend. Good to see you. And Mozart, thank you for the follow. Is that the same? I think that same Mozart account follows us every single story time. Are you the same Mozart that keeps following, or is it's yes, still me? Okay, all right. Petra, hello. Nursing the Paranormal, hello and greetings. I have acquired a sword, spectacular. Jessica, I keep doing that. Well, whatever you fancy, mate, whatever you fancy. Petra, hello. Let's go ahead and say hello to everybody. We've got Milu in. Hello, Milu. Hello, Erin. Hello, Jody, the Emeralds lady. We've got Matty. We've got Bear. We've got Frost. We've got Molly Sue. I think I've named everyone who's dropped in so far. Over on the Twitch portal, it seems so. And then we've got Petra and Nursing the Paranormal over on the YouTube portal. We've got Marybeth, George, and Gary and Dominic over on the Facebook portal. Welcome in, my friends. It's so good to see you all. So very glad that you could join us. Welcome, 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 my friends. I hope you've all been enjoying the start of summer. It has been dreadful, I know, for a lot of our European friends. And then we also have Jessica, Mozart, and Howard over on the TikTok portal. Welcome in, welcome in. NTP, thank you for the heartbeat. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. Thank you. I don't have to worry about any meetings to be late for. Oh, Milo, I've Saturday off. We can game late. Off to TikTok. I appreciate you. Okay. Well, it is good to see you all. For those of you who are new, Massachusetts is hitting 100 degrees this week. Please send help. Yeah, it's NTP. Hello, it's good to see you. Welcome in. Pistol! Hello! Welcome, welcome. Yeah, the weather has just been absolutely dry. NPT, thank you for the roses. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. The weather in some places has just been absolutely awful. It's been very, very hot. We actually surprisingly had a couple of cool days. For anyone who doesn't know, the lady and I live out in Southern California. And it's been quite cool the last couple of days, which has been wonderful. A wonderful relief, because it's normally, by this time of year, ludicrously hot. We're normally in ridiculous amounts of heat. NTP, you're just clearing out the gallery, huh? Thank you for the hard fingers, thank you for the donut, thank you for the hat and moustache, thank you for the hand heart, and thank you for the hearts. Your patronage is deeply appreciated. 111.2 Fahrenheit. That is dreadfully hot for Canada. Fernando! Hello! Welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. I cashed in the kitty earlier, by the way. We've got fireworks going off outside, so I'm probably not going to be able to find the kitty cat. Actually, you know what? Everett probably has Boo. I'll go grab him real quick. I can hear fireworks right now. Erin, thank you for the roses, love. I appreciate you. Let me go see if I can find one of the putty tats. I'll be right back. While I'm doing that, actually, I'm going to run ads over on Twitch so that when I get back, we can just do story time. If you're over on Twitch and it's your first time, we have to run ads. They force us to do it. Ultraman, hello, welcome in. Good to see you. We're going to be running 3 minutes of ads, but it'll give us an hour without them. So I appreciate you all for that. Total of 200 coins. I had 6 coins left. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you. Whoa, NTP. We haven't even started yet. Thank you for the galaxy over on TikTok. That's wow. Thank you kindly. Mike, hello. Good to see you. Welcome in. We're going to be running ads for everybody over on Twitch real quick. We'll be right back. Yeah, I don't like when they get too overego with the fireworks, especially because our dog is just he just does not handle them well. Here, lay down. Are you gonna go on with the boy? All right, go on with the boy. You have something. Oh. Well, hello, friends. I went and got Boo, because Matty cashed in to see the kitty. As we listen to Castle fade off into the distance, he is not happy. He was napping when I went to grab him, so he is not thrilled that he was picked up. Ace, hello! It's been a while. I am wonderful. How are you? Anthony James Potter, good evening. I think they're filming it because it's at Washington's house. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yes, this is Boo. He's the old man amongst the pets. I actually don't know how old he is. I think he's 5 or 6 years old. Not super old, but he is the eldest, except for the snake. The snake's like 26 or something like that. The snake is very old. But Boo, for those of you who don't know, was a rescue. He was found in a graveyard next to his dead siblings. The people who had him before us decided to name him Boo because I guess they thought it was funny. And the lady thought it was cute, so she kept it. He's got like a bit of his ear missing here. He's from either from somebody trying to cut his ear or from him getting into a fight. We're not sure. But when we got him, he was very sick. He had major sinus issues and a plethora of other things that were wrong with him. But he's much healthier now, and he is a lazy cat. He spends all of his time napping, and he will get grumpy at the lady if she doesn't hold still long enough for him to nap. Like, he'll legitimately, like, go up and smack her if she doesn't sit still long enough for him to nap. Oh, Kai, hello. We're just wondering what happened to Mighty because it's been like 2 weeks. Oh, Aiden. Everett is grounded at the moment because he messed up. So that's why you have not heard from him, because he is grounded. Love your videos, brother. Keep the fun and lore. Keep up the fun, lore, and legends. Until my last breath, Anthony. I appreciate you for coming in. Oh, looks like I can grab the other one. Hang on. Ah ha ha ha. He brought himself to me. I didn't even have to go and get him. And here's the other guy. Here is Milo. He is much more... I was just about to compliment you. He's much more amenable to being picked up than Boo is. He still doesn't like it. But if you give him little scritches, he'll usually be much nicer about it. Milo is also a rescue. We rescued him from a kitten mill. And he is a pure-blooded Bengal. And he is a unit. Look at this guy. Here, don't wiggle. Don't wiggle. Don't wiggle. Here, look at it. Look how big this guy is. He is massive, an absolute unit. Look at those paws. Look how big he is. He is huge. He's a big old noodle cat. Big old noodle cat. Big old noodly cat. Okay, you can go. Thank you for being here. Esther, hello, hello. Good to see you. Welcome in. Pines Goblin. Odin spots you well as I live and breathe. Your beard is vibrant as ever. Thank you. It's actually quite healthy thanks to a kind gift from the old King Bear. It's been making my beard quite healthy, and I appreciate that. He's a picky kitty. My lord, he is absolutely massive. Berkey, hello! My dear friend that I've never met, how I missed your voice. It's good to see you, Berkey. I'm glad you made it back in. And coming back, NTP, thank you for that galaxy over on TikTok. What an absolutely insane gift for the start of a story time. Haven't even stress test the stories yet, and already being incredibly generous. Thank you kindly, my friend. Ads are done, by the way. Thank you kindly, Frost. I appreciate you. Battlecat Boo, Smacks, how dare you move before I visit Dreamland. Loving how busy Twitch is tonight. It's lovely. We've got so many folk in. It's absolutely wonderful. For anyone who doesn't know, tonight is our adult storytime night. Now, it doesn't get overwhelmingly explicit, but we are in a book that is more suited to adults, and that is Prince of the Blood by Raymond E. Feist. It has some more intense themes like murder and violence and adults doing adult bedroom activities and things. Luckily, most of that is not very explicit. I don't like reading things like that because I think that they detract from stories. They don't make them any better. Guys, Boop is snuggling me. She usually likes Dan more. What a night. NBT, absolutely exceptional. Thank you so much, my friend. I hope you'll enjoy Storytime. We're going to be on for a bit tonight. We'll probably be on for probably about 3, maybe 4 hours, if I can manage it. Elsie's underage. She may need to cover her ears. Well, if that's the case, then Milo, who is currently cheetahing on the back of the chair, might need to cover his ears as well. But yeah, so this is what we're working on. This is a continuation of the Magician series. Yeah, wow, they are just setting stuff off right over the house right now. We got explosions going on over the tavern. Which, by the way, happy 250th anniversary to all of our American friends. 250 years old. She's just now getting grown up. And when is Canada Day? Canada Day is coming up too, isn't it? Because we have a bunch of hosers in here as well. Wait, isn't tonight supposed? Isn't Eragon on Thursday? Do I have it backwards? Is it Eragon on Tuesday or is it Eragon on Thursday? I thought Thursday, but like before the weekend was our. Hang on a second. I'm gonna check just to be sure because I don't remember. I might be wrong. I might need to change everything up. Hang on. Let me check. Give me just a second, friends. Oh, that's why it was giving me an issue. I'm gosh, this is not being it's not being kind to me. Hang on. No, it's not it either. Yeah, you guys are right. You guys are right. That's my fault. All right, let's switch it up. We're not. Tonight is not. I'm so sorry, guys. Things have been crazy. All right, we're not doing Prince of the Blood tonight. We're doing Eragon. That's my fault. Hang on. Let me switch it up so that we're not backwards. Good lord. All right, tonight is family story. For some reason, I thought family story time was on Thursday. My brain is all over the place. I apologize. So we're gonna do Eragon. Okay. That's fixed. Petra, all is well in the tavern. It's very good to have you. I hope that you're enjoying your week. Let's see. Edit title. Oh, no, come on, give it to me. Edit title. Alright, save. I don't think I can edit the title over on Facebook. I can on Kick. That's not really going to matter much, but I can. Just for continuity's sake. Okay. Alright, well. There's that. How good oh, they let me change it live on TikTok now too. Wonderful. Okay. Alright. Alright, we're back. Bobby, hello! I have arrived. It's just in time to see me absolutely lose my... Hey! You cut that out. You cut that out. Stop it. Animals are out here always trying to scratch everything up. At least the cats are. Alright. Yeah, that would be something else. Hey, hello, Herring. Good to see you. Welcome in. Okay. Alright. Now we're on the right track. Oh, did I not do it on Twitch? I thought I did. No, you're right, I did not. There we go. And done. Okay, alright. We're now cleaned up across the board. And we're ready to go. Excellent. Well, cheers to all of that. I was fighting with YouTube for the channel. Castle slipped a gear. I did indeed slip a gear. There's definitely a dragon in this story, just not the one I expected. Well, there are dragons in Magician. It's just they're very much not the ones you expect. Like you have all of the dragon lords, and then you have the drakes. One of which is what is it, Phantus, who is the pet slash companion of Pog. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. I like to put you on YouTube, on the TV, and chat on Twitch. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I did know that. I love the stories you share, but dude, you've got an amazing voice and accent. Cheers from Alberta. Hey, another Canuck, another hoser in the tavern. We have so many folks from Canada and Australia who pop into the tavern. It's wonderful. Dragon, that's not even a lizard, barely an iguana. Another Canadian. We're getting all the Canadians in. You guys are gonna have to. We're gonna have a Canadian pilgrimage to the tavern. There is a dragon mother and a dragon hatchling in my story. The most emotional scenes in my entire series so far that I'm writing. Very exciting, Ace. That's right. You're writing a story. It's been a while since we've been in. I saw you mentioned something earlier that you're coming along with it. All right, friends. We are in the midst of Eragon. No need to worry about it being any sort of illicit, because Eragon is a fairly safe story. So we are pretty far in. If you don't want spoilers, I'll give you a couple of seconds to tune out, because I'm going to tell you what has happened. This book's been out long enough. You should at least have the basics, but I will be considerate for the next 3 seconds, and then I will be inconsiderate. 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's some of the Canadians with all. Yeah, that's right. They're all coming out of their winter thaw to come and get some stories for the summertime. This is about where we are. We're just over halfway through the story. Eragon has discovered that he is a dragon rider at this point, or that he has the potential to be a dragon rider. That Brom, who was his mentor and the storyteller of his village, was also a dragon rider, and he was a dragon rider who was best friends with one of the worst dragon riders that had ever existed. And now we have him traveling with a gentleman named Murtaugh. They had just had a conflict with a shade, and are now in the process of trying to escape. When we last left off on a major cliffhanger, they had just escaped from Gilead, and Saphira was injured, Murtaugh was injured. They have the elf who Eragon was dreaming of, and Eragon is... I think Eragon's okay, from what I remember. Thawing out very abruptly in Ontario. Hello from West Virginia. You are by far one of my favorite voices, Mike. That is a wonderful compliment. A fine compliment for any storyteller to receive. I appreciate you for it. West Virginia is beautiful. There are a lot of really pretty areas out in West Virginia. There's a whole song about how beautiful West Virginia is, isn't it? It's almost heaven. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. I love that song. What is it? The world is old there, older than the trees. Something like that. I don't remember all the words to it. Cassie, hello! It's good to see you. Welcome in. All right. Country Roads by John Denver, yes. Author Francesca, hello. The Shade, portrayed by Robert Carlyle in the movie. I didn't even remember that. The film is something I think many of us have tried to forget. But Robert Carlyle. Why do I know that name? All right, there, Denver. Country Roads by Country Roads is such a good song. Was the original artist to bring Country Roads to life. It's such a good song. You know, weirdly, my favorite version of Country Roads is not the John Denver version of the song. I have two favorite versions, and they come from pop media. So my second favorite version of the song comes from Whispers of the Heart, which is a Studio Ghibli film by Hayao Miyazaki. And my favorite version of the song comes from a game that I hate, which is Fallout 76. Now, for any of you who have been here for a while, you know I love Fallout as a universe. I love the Fallout universe. It's one of my favorite fiction stories. But the version of Country Roads that they did in Fallout 76 is one of the best versions of Country Roads that has ever been done. He's also Rumpel, Mr. Gold. Oh, yes. Yes, that's where I know him from Once Upon a Time. That's where Robert Carlyle. That's the also in Trainspotting. Wow, that's an old callback. Carmichael was in Full Monty, and was gold in TV series. Yeah. Lana Del Rey's rendition of Country Rose is mesmerizing, but no one captures John Denver's magic quite like him. Carlisle not come. That's all right. It's all right, Johnny. I know what you mean. But yeah, and don't get me wrong. I love John Denver's version of the song. Like, it's a classic. It's great. But it's just like, I love Sound of Silence, which is obviously a song that goes back. I think that Simon and Garfunkel were the originals who did Sound of Silence. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that Simon and Garfunkel were the originators of that song. But the version that I like far better of that song is the version by Disturbed. Disturbed's version of Sound of Silence it's heavenly. It's absolutely exceptional. Arthur Francesca, thank you so kindly for the follow. You've marked the tavern on your map. You should be able to find your way back the next time you seek a story. And it's just like Nine Inch Nails has that song Hurt, but the version of that song that I think we can all agree is the best version of that song was actually done by Johnny Cash. Like, oh. Yeah, the Phil Collins version is also good, Molly Sue. The Phil Collins version is also very good. Yeah, the Disturbed version is just unparalleled. There is no magic around a song that is as good as the Disturbed version of Sound of Silence. I love the Disturbed version of Sound of Silence. It's so good. I love the song Sound of Silence performed by Disturbed. Their singing is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Garfunkel got the expression "Hello darkness, my old friend" from what he said to a friend of his. Interesting. I don't know that I knew that. I don't think I did. Also, Robert Carlyle was in Stargate. That's true, yes, in the show. I disagree, not a Johnny Cash fan. Really, Bobby? That surprises me. That surprises me. I mean, obviously, everybody's going to have different tastes, right? Everybody's going to have a different preference. Disturbed gives this a theatrical feel, yeah. Oh, Francesca also coming to join us over on the Twitch portal. You've now marked us twice on the map. Should be very easy for you to find your way back. And for anybody who is just freshly coming in, we also put out daily story times on myth and lore and writing and storytelling every day from behind the bar here in the tavern. If I remember correctly, Disturbed recorded his version because someone said he couldn't actually sing. That sounds about right, and to be fair, you can't tell that he can sing. You can't, like, if you listen to Disturbed's music, you don't know how good that man's voice is. You have no idea the power that is behind that man's voice, because he does not utilize it in the type of music that he makes. And then when you hear him sing Sound of Silence, it's like, oh, where were you hiding that? I'm not a country music fan. His voice grates on my nerves. Interesting. I don't know that I would call Johnny Cash country. I suppose he is. I would never. I would actually consider him like old Southern rock. But I suppose, yeah, like down, down, down in a burning ring of fire. Yeah, I suppose that it is a little bit country. Well, I went to a Shinedown concert the other day. It was with Shinedown is another band that is wildly. There are some bands that got a lot of hate in like the 2000s, like the mid to late 2000s, and I think that is awful. Like, you have Creed and Nickelback and Shinedown, Five Finger Death Punch, and a couple of others. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. They just got an inordinate amount of hate during their heyday. And they are just so ridiculously good. We're just talking about how the lead singer of Disturbed, whose name I don't know, but the lead singer of Disturbed has an absolutely incredible voice. Dryman could definitely sing. He was brought up as a chanter in the Jewish faith. You have to be able to sing to do that. Right, but again, like with Disturbed's music, you would never know that his voice is as good as it is. I'm also a big fan of the covers Ghost does, especially Jesus, He Knows Me, and Phantom of the Opera. I don't know that I've heard those, Herring. You'll have to send them to me over on Discord. I have seen Shinedown in concert. I was fortunate when I was a younger man. My brother and I worked in events, so we got to attend a lot of television and movie things and a lot of concerts. So I've gotten to see a lot of bands in person because of that. And some are not as good, like some live performance. Some people depend very heavily on the studio for the quality of their music. Shinedown, Disturbed, and several other bands, shockingly, they do really well live. Mumford and Sons. No. Is it Mumford? Not Mumford and Sons. Who am I thinking of? Hang on. I have to. No. Oh, of Monsters and Men. Of Monsters and Men is also spectacular live. Another person who was spectacular live, who I'm very sad recently passed away, was Oliver Tree. Oliver Tree is like very electronic in his studio music, but his live performance is very good. The band Disturbed has an absolutely brilliant, outstanding voices, truly captivates and engages. I agree, Esther. I agree. I love me some Shinedown. He was originally considered outlaw country. Yeah, that's more Cash's classic country. Yeah, I would say outlaw country, which like borderlines on rock, and classic country, which is more close to what we consider like classic rock. Because like Charlie Daniels is country, but Charlie Daniels is also closer to like rock than country, in my opinion. Like it rocks the line between like the folksiness of country and the heart of rock. Cash's country, he was great. He was always on the Grand Ole Opry in the 70s and early 80s. Oh. Yeah, I've never really thought of Johnny Cash as being very heavily country, so I guess that's just a me thing. Like, obviously, pretty much everybody's saying that they would consider him country. Avenged Sevenfold and Red, I haven't heard in a while. Yeah, there are some bands that are just really good that just haven't put out music in a while. Ring of Fire was used as a song to check our homework in English literature. As a senior in high school, that may be the reason why I'm not a Johnny Cash fan. It's fair. That would be fair enough, Bobby. Fun fact, he got in trouble at the Opry when he sang Sunday Morning Coming Down by Chris Christopherson. He also stomped on some of the lights during the show. Interesting. See, I love these things. Like, these little stories are like my bread and butter. I love these things, right? These little tidbits of history. Hello, this is my first time tuning in. It's good to see you, Badger. It's good to see you as well. I presume you've seen some of the shorter story times, and that's what brought you here. We're glad to have you. I got off on a bit of a waffle about music, but we're about to start Eragon. So grab your seat and settle in. We'll kick it off. The Highwaymen was a group that included Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings. Only Willie Nelson is left. That is such a tragic thing. And again, like, obviously we all grow old and eventually we get to the end, but it is sad to think how many of the greats are going, you know? And so many goods die young. I just mentioned Oliver Tree. Again, most people would not assume that his music is the kind of music I would listen to, because most of what the lady and I listen to is like folk and rock, but there are some, we listen to a pretty wide variety of things from music. But I loved Oliver Tree's early music especially, and he died in a helicopter crash in Brazil a few weeks ago. That's very sad. Oh, Stained and Seether are also very good. Stained and Seether are also very good. Party Molly, you from? Is there a question in there? I'm going to slip away for a bit and grab a quick rinse off. That's all right, Frost. Do what you have to do. I am going to get started reading. Also, Ghost cover of Crucified by the Armies of Lovers is also fantastic. Send them to me, Heron, because off the top of my head, I don't remember them. I love their single, The Highwayman. That one I'm not familiar with. Again, if you guys ever want me to listen to these things, send them to me and I'll give them a look. All right, I think we should get started. I have waffled long enough. I was too, Esther. I thought it was a joke at first. I thought it was one of his big, elaborate gags, because like he's very well known for those. But it was sad. He was only 34. He's a young man. It was a very tragic thing. Outlaw Country is about the only country I don't mind, really, especially. Yeah, I consider Outlaw Country closer to rock than I do country, because like when I think pure country, I'm thinking like banjos and spoons and washboards. Like I'm thinking like old bluegrass and old country. Yeah, Third Eye Blind is another exceptional one. You've got Four Non-Blondes. It was also very good. The Wallflowers had very good music. A band that I liked a lot that didn't get a lot of attention. They were more like 90s punk rock than they were anything else, but or maybe pop punk, like 90s pop punk. Was Stroke 9 and Eve 6 were very good. I like them a lot. He was still young and a whole lot of life ahead of him. Yeah, it was tragic. And it's tragic that he had just had a falling out with his record label and lost rights to all of his music, and then just done a bunch of new music that he'd spent 6 months working on, independent of his record label. And it is a tragic thing. All right, let's go ahead and get started, friends. I don't know what chapter number we're on because the chapters aren't numbered, but the chapter is A Warrior and a Healer. Saphira drifted down to a clearing and landed on the crest of a hill. And rested her outstretched wings on the ground. Eragon could feel her shaking beneath him. They were only half a league away from Gilead. Picketed in the clearing were Snowfire and Tornak, who snorted nervously at Saphira's arrival. Eragon slid to the ground and immediately turned to Saphira's injuries, while Murtaugh readied the horses. Unable to see well in the darkness, Eragon ran his hands blindly over Saphira's wing. He found 3 places where the arrow had punctured the thin membrane, leaving bloody holes as thick around as his thumb. A small piece had also been torn out of the back of the edge of her left wing. She shivered when his fingers brushed the injuries. He tiredly healed the wounds with words from the ancient language. Then he went to the arrow that was embedded in one of the large muscles of her flying arm. The arrowhead poked through its underside. Warm blood dripped off of it. Eragon called to Murtaugh and instructed, "Hold her wing. Hold it down. I'll have to remove this arrow." He indicated where Murtaugh should grip. "This will be painful," he warned Saphira, "but it'll be over quickly. Try not to struggle. You'll hurt us." She extended her neck and grabbed a tall sapling between her curved teeth. And with a yank of her head, she pulled the tree out of the ground and clamped it firmly in her jaws. "I am ready." "Okay," said Eragon. "Hold on," he whispered to Murtaugh. Then he broke off the arrowhead, trying not to cause any more damage. Then he swiftly pulled the shaft out of Saphira. As it left her muscle, she threw back her head and whimpered past the tree in her mouth. Her wing jerked involuntarily, clipping Murtaugh under the chin and knocking him to the ground. With a growl, Saphira shook the tree, spraying them with dirt before tossing it away. After Eragon sealed the wound, he helped Murtaugh up. She caught me by surprise, admitted Murtaugh, touching his scraped jaw. I'm sorry. She didn't mean to hit you, assured Eragon. He checked on the unconscious elf. You're gonna have to carry her for a bit longer, he told Saphira. We can't take her on the horses and ride fast enough. Flying should be easier for you now that the arrow is out. Saphira dipped her head. I will do it. Thank you, said Eragon. He hugged her fiercely. What you did was incredible. I'll never forget it. Her eyes softened. I will go now. She backed away as she flew up, into a flurry in the air, with the elf's hair streaming back. Seconds later, they were gone. Eragon hurried to Snowfire, pulled himself into the saddle, and galloped away with Murtaugh. While they rode, Eragon tried to remember what he knew about the elves. They had long lives. That fact was oft repeated, although he knew not how long. They spoke the ancient language, and many could use magic. After the fall of the riders, elves had retreated into seclusion. None of them had been seen in the Empire since. So why is one here now? And how did the Empire manage to capture her? If she can use magic, she's probably drugged as I was. They travelled through the night, not stopping even when their flagging strength began to slow them. They continued onward despite burning eyes and clumsy movements. Behind them, lines of torch-bearing horsemen searched around Gilead for their trail. After many bleary hours, dawn lightened the sky. By unspoken consent, Eragon and Murtaugh stopped the horses. We have to make camp, said Eragon wearily. I must sleep, whether they catch us or not. Agreed, said Murtaugh, rubbing his eyes. Have Saphira land. We'll meet her. They followed Saphira's directions and found her drinking from a stream at the base of a small cliff. Hey, will you be quiet? Stop it. You're just being obnoxious. Cat. Sortalk, hello, it's good to see you. Welcoming Crystal, hello, good to see you. Wow, we got everybody in tonight. What an absolute joy. Thank you. Francesco or Frankie, whichever you prefer. Thank you for the drink. I appreciate you for that. Milo, you calm down. I say it is indeed a full house. I'm glad to have you all in. It's good to see everyone. Saphira greeted them with a soft bugle as Eragon dismounted. Murtaugh helped him remove the elf from Saphira's saddle and lower her to the ground. Then they sagged against a rock face, exhausted. Saphira examined the elf curiously. I wonder why she hasn't woken. It's been hours since we left Gilead. Who knows what they did to her, said Eragon grimly. Murtaugh followed their gaze. As far as I know, she's the first elf the king has captured. Ever since they went into hiding, he's been looking for them without success. Until now. So he's either found their sanctuary or she was captured by chance. I think it was chance. If he'd found Elf Haven, he would have declared war and set his army after the elves. Since it hasn't happened, question is, were Galbatorus' men able to extract the elves' location before we rescued her? We won't know until she regains consciousness. Tell me, what happened after I was captured? How did I end up in Gilead? The Urgles are working for the Empire, said Murtaugh shortly, pushing back his hair. And it seems the Shade as well. Saphira and I saw Urgles give you to him, though I didn't know who it was at the time, and a group of soldiers. They were the ones who took you to Gilead. It's true, said Saphira, curling up next to them. Eragon's mind flashed back to the Urgles he had spoken with at Teo, and the master that they had mentioned. They meant the king. I insulted the most powerful man in Alagasia. He realized with dread. Then he remembered the horror of the slaughtered villagers in Yazuak. A sick, angry feeling welled in his stomach. The Urgers were under Galbatorix's orders. Why would he commit such an atrocity on his own subjects? Because he is evil, stated Saphira flatly. Glowering, Eragon exclaimed, This will mean war. Once the people of the Empire learn of it, they will rebel and support the Varden. Murtaugh rested his chin in his hands. Even if they had heard of this outrage, few would make it to the Varden. With the Urgles under his command, the king has enough warriors to close the Empire's borders and remain in control, no matter how disruptive people are. With such a role of terror, he will be able to shape the Empire however he wants. And though he is hated, people could be galvanized into joining him if they had a common enemy. Who would that be? Asked Eragon, confused. The elves and the Varden. With the right rumours, they can be portrayed as the most despicable monsters in Alagasia. Fiends who are waiting to seize your land and wealth. The Empire could say that the Urgles have been misunderstood all this time, and that they're really friends and allies against such a terrible enemy. I only wonder what the king promised them in return for their service. It wouldn't work, said Eragon, shaking his head. No one could be deceived that easily about Galbatorix and the Urgles. Besides, why would he want to do that? He's already in power. But his authority is challenged by the Varden, with whom people sympathise. There's also Serda, which has defied him since it seceded from the Empire. Galbatorix is strong within the Empire, but his arm is weak outside of it. As for the people seeing through his deceptions, they'll believe whatever he wants them to. It's happened before. Murtaugh fell silent and gazed moodily into the distance. His words troubled Eragon. Saphira touched him with her mind. Where is Galbatorix sending the Urgles? What? In both Carvahall and Teyab, you heard that the Urgles were leaving the area and migrating southeast, as if to brave the Haderach Desert. If the king truly does control them, why is he sending them in that direction? Maybe an Urgle army is being gathered for his private use, or an Urgle city is being formed. Eragon shuddered at the thought. I'm too tired to figure it out. Whatever Galbatorix's plans, they'll only cause us trouble. I just wish that we knew where the Varden are. That's where we should be going. But we're lost without Dormnut. And it doesn't matter what we do. The Empire will find us. Don't give up, she said encouragingly, and then added dryly, though you're probably right. Thanks. He looked at Murtaugh. You risked your life to rescue me. I owe you for that. I couldn't have escaped on my own. It was more than that, though. There was a bond between them now, welded into the brotherhood of battle and tempered by the loyalty Murtaugh had shown. My cat is the same way. Polly, Dobbs, hello and welcome in. Love, friends, die laughing. Interesting. What chapter are we on? Blackie VR, we are on a warrior and a healer. So this is the side, this is what we've finished already, and this is how much we have left to go. So we're just under 2/3 of the way through the story. We just passed where Eragon fights the Shade and is imprisoned in Gilead, and just after Brom has passed. And now we are heading into the arc with the elf and them trying to find the Varden. What is your cat's name? We have two cats. The one that is meowing and currently cheating on the back of the chair, that is Milo. He is the baby of the household. He is a pure-blooded Bengal who we rescued from a kitten mill. And then we have another who is a half Bengal who is called Boo. And then we also have a gigantic white half husky, half shepherd badger. So talk, thank you for the stretch and for the drink. Oh. Moog, hello. Oh my gosh, I haven't read Eragon in forever. Also hi. Good to see you. Welcome in. And they have a pint. Yes, we also have a pint. I don't know where Coda is right now. He's probably hiding because they're doing boom booms outside, so. Alright, where was I? Oh, actually, I should probably check how much time. Oh, yeah, we got 20 minutes. We're good. We are good. Well, if it isn't Arthur Christie and the Badgers. We have another Badger over on the YouTube portal right now. Let's get a toot on the raid horn for Arthur Christie. Can I get a shout out for the lovely Arthur lady from one of the barkeeps? And we'll give him a toot on the raid horn. If you're trying to sleep, I apologize. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, Badgers. It's so good to see you all. I hope you're all well. For any of you who are not familiar with myself, my name is Castle. This is my tavern. And here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore, and every now and again I read you all a bedtime story, which is what we are doing this evening. It is our family-friendly night, and I am reading to you from Eragon, the first book in the Inheritance Cycle. And I run this lovely tavern with my beautiful wife, who's sitting across from me, and we put out stories on myth and lore and storytelling just about every single day. And we do these storytellings 3 times a week. For any of you who are not familiar with Arthur Christie, she is if I remember correctly, a romance and mystery writer. Romance is the center focus, but one of your novels is a mystery novel, yes? Or something akin to that. And you have 2 or 3 books that are published, if I recall correctly. So if any of you are interested, you can go and give Arthur Christie a follow. She's quite lovely. She does co-study streams as well as reading and so on. Contemporary romance times 2 and 1 romantasy. Well, see, there you go. Is Molly Sue off to bed? I didn't see their time to leave for work. Have a good night. Off to work. Good night, Mary Sue. Have a good evening at work. I hope that you have a successful evening and that when you are finished, you will have a restful sleep. Have a good day. This story was made by dwarves with autism, so you know it's good. Yeah, Goblin. Yeah, that's very funny. Dharma Lama! That totally reminded me of God of War Ragnarok, and I forgot the name of the horn. The Galor Horn! The horn that shall herald in Thimblefinterd and announce the arrival of Ragnarok. Yes, it's called the Galor Horn. Welcome in, Dom, and Darth Nexus, Big Ed. Hello, my friend, good to see you. Welcome in. Butterbeer time indeed. Grab your seat and settle in. We're going to get back into it right now. Just a bunch of people came in. I needed to greet everyone. Arthur Christie, if you have to run off, I appreciate you for bringing the Badgers in. We'll take good care of them. In the meantime, have yourself a wonderful night. Get food, get rest, do whatever you need to do. And we will thank you kindly for bringing the Badgers by for a bit of story in the tavern. and wish you a wonderful night in the meantime. Alright, where was I? I'm just glad I could help. Murtaugh faltered and rubbed his face. My main worry now is that how we're going to travel with so many men searching for us. Gilead soldiers will be hunting us tomorrow. Once they find the horse tracks, they'll know you didn't fly away with Saphira. Eragon glumly agreed. How did you manage to get into the castle? Murtaugh laughed softly. By paying a steep bribe and crawling through filthy scullery chute. But the plan wouldn't have worked without Saphira. He stopped and directed his words at her. That is, you are the only reason we escaped alive. Eragon solemnly put a hand on her scaly neck. As she hummed contentedly, he gazed at the elf's face, captivated. Reluctantly, he dragged himself upright. We should make a bed for her. Murtaugh got to his feet and stretched out a blanket for the elf. When they lifted her onto it, the cuff of her sleeve tore on a branch. Eragon began to pinch the fabric together and then gasped. The elf's arms were mottled with layers of bruises and cuts, and some were half-healed, while others were fresh and oozing. Eragon shook his head with anger and pulled the sleeve up higher. The injuries continued to her shoulder. With trembling fingers, he unlaced the back of her shirt, dreading what might be under it. As the leather slipped off, Murtaugh cursed. The elf's back was strong and muscled, but it was covered with scabs that made her skin look like dry, cracked mud. She had been whipped mercilessly and branded with hot irons in the shape of claws. Where her skin was still intact, it was purple and black from numerous beatings. On her left shoulder was a tattoo inscribed with indigo ink. It was the same symbol that had been on the sapphire of Brom's ring. Eragon silently swore an oath that he would kill whoever was responsible for torturing the elf. Can you heal this? Asked Murtaugh. I don't know, said Eragon. He swallowed back a sudden queasiness. There's so much. Eragon, said Saphira sharply, this is an elf. She cannot be allowed to die. Tired or not, hungry or not, you must save her. I will meld my strength with yours. But you are the one who must wield the magic. Yes, you're right, he murmured, unable to tear his eyes from the elf. Determined, he pulled off his gloves and said to Murtaugh, this is going to take some time. Can you get me food? Also, boil rags for bandages. I can't heal all her wounds. We can't make a fire without being seen, objected Murtaugh. You'll have to use unwashed clothes, and the food will be cold. Eragon grimaced but acquiesced. As he gently laid a hand on the elf's spine, Saphira settled next to him, her glittering eyes fixed on the elf. He took a deep breath, and then reached for the magic, and started working. He spoke the ancient words. Wise hail! A burn shimmered under his palm, and new unmarked skin flowed over it, joining together without a scar. He passed over bruises and other wounds that were not life-threatening. Healing them all would consume the energy he needed for the more serious injuries. As Eragon toiled, he marveled that the elf was still alive. She had been repeatedly tortured to the edge of death, with a precision that chilled him. Although he tried to preserve the elf's modesty, he could not help but notice that underneath the disfigured marks her body was exceptionally beautiful. He was exhausted and did not dwell upon it, though his ears turned red at times, and he fervently hoped that Saphira did not know what he was thinking. He labored through dawn, pausing only at brief intervals to eat and drink, trying to replenish himself from his fast. The escape, and now healing the elf. Saphira remained by his side, lending her strength where she could. The sun was well into the sky when he finally stood, groaning as his cramped muscles stretched. His hands were grey and his eyes felt dry and gritty. He stumbled to the saddlebags, where he took a long drink from the wine skin. "Is it done?" asked Myrtle. Eragon nodded, trembling. He did not trust himself to speak. The camp spun before him. He nearly fainted. "You did well," said Saphira soothingly. "Will she live?" I don't know," he said in a ravaged voice. "Elves are strong, but even they cannot endure abuse like this with impunity. If I knew more about healing, I might be able to revive her, but..." He gestured helplessly. His hand was shaking so badly he spilled some of the wine. Another swig helped to steady him. "We'd better start riding again." "No, you must sleep," protested Murtaugh. I can sleep in the saddle, but we can't afford to stay here. Not with the soldiers closing on us." Murtaugh reluctantly gave in. "In that case, I'll lead Snowfire while you rest." They resaddled the horses, strapped the elf into Saphira, and departed the camp. Eragon ate while he rode, trying to replace his depleted energy. Before he leaned forward again against Snowfire and closed his eyes. And so ends The Warrior and the Healer. Spectacular chapter. Elsie and I will be listening quietly in the background, wishing you a wonderful night, Castle, and the same to you, Esther. Absolutely always wonderful to have you. Excited to hear the story. I have my notifications on, but it doesn't send me notifications for the live. Yes, it's a fairly common problem. We don't get... we sadly get a whole lot of... how would you say it? We get a whole lot of issues with story times where with the platforms where people are not informed when we're doing something. Cheers, Crystal. We are going to do another chapter, but I think we need to run ads for our friends over on Twitch. So we're going to do that real quick. I need to... yeah, there we go. Refresh this real quick. Alright. So, Twitch friends, we're going to have another 3 minutes of ads and then we will have an hour without them. I appreciate everyone who sits through, even though it is unfortunate, but as I've said before, the platforms make us do it. Crystal buys around for the tavern. Cheers, friends. Sláinte. Alright, we're going to run those 3 minutes and then we will be right back. It's insane how much of this story I don't remember. And keep in mind, the last time that I read through Eragon was probably more than 15 years ago. Because when did this book come out? Oh wow, yeah. So the book came out in... It was self-published in 2002 with a wide publishing release by Alfred Knopf in 2003. So I probably read this book first in 2004, and the last time I probably read it was in 2006. So it's been almost 20 years since I've read this book. It's been a while. It was over 7 years for me. Yeah, it's insane how long, or rather how fast time goes when good stuff, working on or writing a Warhammer Fantasy campaign for the fellows at work. I've been getting so many requests in the private messages for, and actually even in comments, to do Warhammer lore stories. Because Warhammer is it's incredibly old. It's almost as old, if not as old, as Dungeons and Dragons, and it has an incredible amount of books and lore and it's very very in depth as far as the amount of lore that is available. I'm not sure how much of the tavern would even be interested. I think that once we get the Henry Cavill series or movie or whatever it is going to be, there'll be more mainstream interest in it. Probably closer to 10 years. That's insane. Elizabeth, hello. Very good to see you. Welcome in. But a Warhammer fantasy campaign for the fellas at work. So are you doing the miniatures tabletop, or are you just doing like the role playing tabletop? I got introduced to Warhammer before it was even labeled 40k. 1985-ish. Yeah, it's. I don't want to make anybody feel old, but yeah, I think that Warhammer is at least 40 years old. I think it's like somewhere between like 35 and 45 years old, somewhere in there. I want to know, did you ever hear about Baba Yaga and her sister? I've heard. I do know of Baba Yaga. Yes. Depends on which story we're talking about, as far as the who the sister could be. I would love to hear you read the 40k series. Very old school. Very old school. Yeah, I would maybe during the summer. Maybe during the summer I'll do some 40k stories for the daily short stories that we put out. I've been getting the requests for so long. I wouldn't hurt to put out a couple and see if the tavern has an interest in them. Because old school first edition. Oh, excellent. That's fun, Gary. See, I like running old school D&D games. My favorite way to run D&D games is a hybrid of Pathfinder and 3.5. But second edition D&D is also exceptional. Marina, I was just thinking about you, Marina. I hadn't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Dang, almost 2 years. Enjoy your meet of the Morning Star there. Yeah. 2 years. Absolutely insane. We are exceptional. I know Magic isn't that old, but it came out in 1993. Yeah, it's crazy to me how old some of the things. Because like you think of like Magic the Gathering and like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon as being for kids, but the people who made those stories popular and now are like these massive franchise. Those stories, those people are now in their 30s and 40s. Because if you were a kid in the 80s and 90s and you grew up with all of these things, you're now in your 30s and 40s. And it's crazy to think that, right? It is wild. Yes, we like all your stories. I'm glad. I've heard of 40k, but I didn't know it goes back that far. Yeah, because it was originally a tabletop game, and then it had a miniatures thing, and then it became I don't know if I think the novels came next. And then the board games, I think, came after that. And then the video games. Magic is the oldest existing TCG, yes, Tyson. There are a couple of older ones that died off in the 90s. But Magic is the oldest one that has still survived. And the most successful one to date has been Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, I had a lot of stuff I've been dealing with. This Gam became a Gamgan again. That makes 11. Wow! Well, congratulations, Marina. That's wonderful to hear. I've got a night mug of muck, but put away treasures that I borrowed, and now I shall retreat back under the castle sink, because I wake up in 3 hours. Bite Goblin, off to work, off to bed with you, please. I appreciate you being here. It's always lovely. Well, geez, you guys, Bobby, thank you for the resub. 13 months, Baker's dozen. I appreciate you for that. And Marina, again, thank you for 23 months, almost 2 years. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated, my friends. Thank you kindly. It started a hype train. How did that happen? Warhammer was originally released in 1983 by Games Workshop from the UK. Dang. Nate, hello. Oh, I'm sorry, I was neglecting everyone over on TikTok. Hey, I've been following you for years now. Don't listen as much as I used to, but I love this channel. Jason, the tavern is a place that you can leave for years and come back later, and just to get a story. So I'm glad that you can still come back after about a year, after all the time, and still get enjoyment out of these story times and the shorter ones that we do as well. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm glad you dropped by. And Nate, I'm well. Nate, how are you doing, my friend? It's an absolutely wonderful night in the tavern. It's amazing what Google will tell you. It is a powerful tool that unfortunately doesn't get used as much as it should. Hubby used to do Warhammer tournaments in the UK. Wow. Going way back. Good. Well, I'm glad you could drop in, brother. It's been a while. So I'm glad you could drop by. We were yapping a bit about the times of yore. The Shaddam Shir, if you will. The good old times. He met Henry Cavill a couple of... Well, I mean, of course he would. With everything skyrocketing, it's tough to offer tips these days. I'm appreciative of anyone who can and does. And I appreciate all of you who show up and pay us with your attention. I will never ask you all to tip or buy anything from us, but I'm grateful for every one of you that does. Ads are done again, by the way. Thank you, Frost. I appreciate you, brother. We'll get back into it. Yeah, none of you guys ever need to feel the need to feel pressure to give anything to the tavern, but those of you that do, we appreciate, because it helps us keep the stories flowing for free for everybody else when people come and watch the longer things, and when they're willing to buy stuff in the tavern shop, as well as help out over on Patreon and members and whatnot. Never required, but it is appreciated. And for everybody who shows up and just watches stuff, that is also appreciated. It is the best way to support the tavern is to just show up and watch things and engage positively with what we do. And that's true of anybody who you like to support online. Best thing you can do is show up, positively support, share the things. That is a great way to make sure that they'll keep on doing what they're doing. Now, the lady and I will do this even if we are broke, because we're doing it right now when we're broke. Because we love to do it. And we've decided that this is what we're going to do no matter what. So you'll never take it away from us. I've been loving the recent shorts you've been putting out. I've been loving the recent comments you've been putting on the recent shorts I've been putting out, Frost. And you always add something insightful to the stories, and I appreciate that. We love sharing tips with you, but sometimes we can't pay our bills still. We enjoy coming here and hearing the stories, and I appreciate that, Esther. And you and Johnny both have been very generous with us in the past. I appreciate. We all go through ups and downs, so I appreciate it. I appreciate that you all support us to such a degree that the lady and I can do this and continue to create stories for you all. We get to be your storyteller because you enjoy the stories and you support what we do, so we appreciate that. The list of British actors hubby knows from having met them is long and distinguished. The comments on the shorts are interesting. Yeah, so sometimes the comments get a bit out of hand. As long as people don't get uncivilized, I generally just let people say whatever they want to say. I don't have a particular care about what other people say. As long as no one is trying to ruin the experience for anyone else, I kind of just let people converse and say whatever they can say. But they do get very interesting sometimes. Alright, let's get back into it, friends. Our next chapter is Water from Sand. When they stopped for the evening, Eragon felt no better and his temper had worsened. Most of the day had been spent on long detours to avoid detection by soldiers with hunting dogs. He dismounted Snowfire and asked Saphira,
"How is she?" "I think no worse than before. She stirred slightly a few times, but that was all."
Saphira crouched low to the ground and let him lift the elf out of the saddle. For a moment her soft form pressed against Eragon, and then he hurriedly put her down. He and Murtaugh made a small dinner. It was difficult for them to fight off the urge to sleep. When they had eaten, Murtaugh said,
"We can't keep up this pace. We aren't gaining any ground on the soldiers. Another 2 days of this, and they'll surely overtake us."
"What else can we do?" snapped Eragon.
"If it were just the two of us, and you were willing to leave Tornak behind, Saphira could fly us out of here, but with the elf too, it's impossible."
Murtaugh looked at him carefully.
"If you want to go your own way, I won't stop you. I can't expect you and Saphira to stay and risk imprisonment."
"Don't insult me," Eragon muttered.
"The only reason I'm free is because of you. I'm not going to abandon you to the Empire. Poor thanks that would be."
Murtaugh bowed his head.
"Your words hearten me." He paused. "But they don't solve a problem."
"What can?" said Eragon. He gestured at the elf.
I wish she could tell us where the elves are, and perhaps we could seek sanctuary with him."
Considering how they protected themselves, I doubt she'd reveal their location. Even if she did, the others of her kind might not welcome us. Why would they want to shelter us anyways? The last riders that they had contact with were Galbatorix and the Forswarm. I doubt that left them with pleasant memories. And I don't even have the dubious honor of being a rider like you. No, they would not want me at all."
"They would accept us,"
said Saphira confidently, as she shifted her wings to a more comfortable position. Eragon shrugged.
"Even if they would protect us, we can't find them. It's impossible to ask the elf until she regains consciousness. We must flee, but in what direction? North, south, east, or west?"
Murtaugh laced his fingers together and pressed his thumbs against his temple. "I think the only thing we can do is leave the Empire. The few safe places within it are far from here. They would be difficult to reach without being caught or followed. There's nothing for us to the north except the forest Du Veldenvarden, which we might be able to hide in, but I don't relish going back past Gilead. Only Empire and the sea lie westward. To the south is Serda, where you might be able to find someone to direct you to the Varden. As for going east," he shrugged. "To the east is the Haderach Desert, and that stands between us and whatever lands exist in that direction. The Varden is somewhere across it, but without directions, it might take us years to find them."
"We would be safe, though," remarked Saphira, "as long as we didn't encounter any Argos."
Eragon knitted his brow. A headache threatened to drown his thoughts in a hot throb.
"It's too dangerous to go to Serda. We would have to traverse most of the Empire, avoiding every town and village, and there are too many people between us and Serda to get there unnoticed."
Murtaugh raised an eyebrow.
"So you want to go across the desert?" "I don't see any other options. Besides, that way we can leave the Empire before the Razak get here. With their flying steeds, they'll probably arrive in Gilead in a couple of days, so we don't have much time."
"Even if we do reach the desert before they get here," said Murtaugh, "they could still overtake us. It'll be hard to outdistance them at all." Eragon rubs Saphira's side, her scales rough under his fingers. That's assuming they can follow our trail. To catch us, they'll have to leave soldiers behind, which is to our advantage. If it comes to a fight, I think the three of us can defeat them, as long as we aren't ambushed, the way Brom and I were. If we reach the other side of the Haderach safely, said Murtaugh slowly, where will we go? Those lands are well outside the Empire. There will be a few cities, if any. And then there is the desert itself. What do you know of it? Only that it's hot, dry, and full of sand, confessed Eragon. That about sums it up, replied Murtaugh. It's filled with poisonous and edible plants, venomous snakes, scorpions, and a blistering sun. You saw the Great Plain on your way to Gilead. It was a rhetorical question, but Eragon answered anyway. Yes, and once before. Then you're familiar with its immense range. It fills the heart of the Empire. Now imagine something 2 or 3 times its size, and you'll understand the vastness of the Haderach Desert. That is what you're proposing to cross. Eragon tried to envision a piece of land that gigantic, but was unable to grasp the distances involved. He retrieved the map of Elegasia from his saddlebag. The parchment smelled musty as he unrolled it on the ground. He inspected the plains and shook his head in amazement. No wonder the Empire ends at the desert. Everything on the other side is too far away for Galbatorix to control. Tavern brawls are never acceptable, Bobby. If we come across a few extra dollars, we'd be happy to share them and support your story. Your stories truly deserve it. Well, thank you, Esther. I say that as long as you keep showing up and enjoying, that's all the tip I need. And if you ever have excess of any kind that you're willing to toss, then that is the way. But when you're struggling yourself, I'd rather be a reprieve than a worry for everybody. I'm hitting the hay. Good night, all. Good night, the Badger. It was wonderful to have you. We'll be back again on Thursday around the same time for our adult night of storytelling, which will be Prince of the Blood, which I totally mixed up and thought we were doing tonight. That is why we have the barkeeps. What tavern brawls? I haven't a clue what's going on there. Bobby was just referring to when people get into fights in the comments and try to ruin the experience for everybody else. That's what she was referring to. Murtaugh swept his hand over the right side of the parchment. All the land beyond the desert, which is blank on this map, was under one rule when the riders lived. If the king were to raise up new riders under his command, it would allow him to expand his empire to an unprecedented size. But that wasn't the point I was trying to make. The Haderach Desert is so huge, it contains so many dangers. The chances are slim that we can cross it unscathed. It is a desperate path to take. We are desperate, said Eragon firmly. He studied the map carefully. If we rode through the belly of the desert, it would take well over a month, perhaps even 2 to cross it. But if we angle southward, toward the Beor Mountains, we could cut through much faster. And then we can follow the Beor Mountains farther east, into the wilderness, or go west to Surda. If this map is accurate, the distance between here and the Beors is roughly equal to what we covered on our way to Gilead. But that took us nearly a month. Eragon shook his head impatiently. Our ride to Gilead was slow on account of my injuries. If we press ourselves, it will only take a fraction of that time to reach the Beor Mountains. Enough. You made your point, acknowledged Murtaugh. Before our consent, however, something must be solved. As I'm sure you noticed, I bought supplies for us and the horses while I was in Gilead.
But how can we get enough water? The roving tribes who live in the Haderach usually disguise their wells and oases so no one can steal their water. And carrying enough for more than a day is impractical. And just think about how much Saphira drinks. She and the horses consume more water at one time than we do in a week. Unless you can go and make it rain wherever we need, I don't see how we can go the direction you proposed. Eragon rocked back on his heels. Making rain was well beyond his power. He suspected not even the strongest rider could have done it. Moving that much air was like trying to shift a mountain. He needed a solution that would not drain all of his strength. I wonder if it's possible to convert sand into water. That would solve our problem, but only if it doesn't take too much energy. I have an idea, he said. Let me experiment and I'll give you an answer. He strode out of the camp, with Saphira following closely. What are you going to try? She asked. I don't know, he muttered. Saphira, could you carry enough water for us? She shook her enormous head. No, I wouldn't even be able to lift that much weight, let alone fly with it. Too bad. He knelt and picked up a stone with a large enough cavity in it for a mouthful of water. He pressed a clumpful of dirt into the hollow and studied it carefully and thoughtfully. Now came the hard part. Somehow he had to convert the dirt into water. But what words should I use? He puzzled over it for a moment and then picked two he hoped would work. The icy magic rushed through him as he breached the familiar barrier in his mind and commanded, Delamoy. Immediately the dirt began to absorb his strength at a prodigious rate. Eragon's mind flashed back to Brom's warning that certain tasks could consume all of his power and take his life. Panic blossomed in his chest. He tried to release the magic, but could not. It was linked to him until the task was complete or he was dead. All he could do was remain motionless, growing weaker every moment. Just as he became convinced that he would die kneeling there, the dirt shimmered and morphed into a thimble of water. Relieved, Eragon sat back, breathing hard. His heart pounded painfully and hunger gnawed at his innards. What happened? Asked Saphira. Eragon shook his head, still in shock from the drain on his body's reserves. He was glad that he had not tried to transmute anything larger. This won't work, he said. I don't even have the strength to give myself a drink. Should have been more careful, she chided. Magic can yield unexpected results when the ancient words are combined in new ways. He glared at her. I know that, but this was the only way I could test my idea. I wasn't going to wait until we were in the desert. He reminded himself that she was only trying to help. How did you turn Brom's grave into diamond without killing yourself? I can barely handle a bit of dirt, much less all that sandstone. I don't know how I did it, she stated calmly. It just happened. Could you do it again? But this time make water? Eragon, she said, looking at him squarely in the face. I have no more control over my abilities than a spider does. Things like that occur whether I will them or not. Brom told you that the unusual events that happen around dragons. He spoke truly. He gave no explanation for it, nor do I have one. Sometimes I can work changes just by feel, almost without thought, but the rest of the time, like right now, I'm as powerless as Snowfire. You're never powerless, he said softly, putting a hand on her neck. For a long period they were both quiet. Eragon remembered the grave
he had made and how Brom lay within it. He could still see the sandstone flowing over the old man's face. "At least we gave him a decent burial," he whispered. He idly swirled his finger in the dirt, making twisting ridges. Two of the ridges formed a miniature valley, so he added mountains around it. With his fingernail, he scratched a river down the valley and deepened it because it seemed too shallow. He added a few more details until he found himself staring at a passable reproduction of the Palancar Valley. Homesickness welled up within him, and he obliterated the valley with a swipe of his hands. "I don't want to talk about it," he muttered angrily, staving off Saphira's questions. He crossed his arms and glared at the ground. Almost against his will, his eyes flicked back to where he had gouged the earth. He straightened, surprised. Though the ground was dry, the furrow he had made was lined with moisture. Curious, he scraped away more dirt and found a damp layer a few inches under the surface. "Look at this," he said excitedly. Saphira lowered her nose to his discovery. "How does this help us?" Water in the desert is sure to be buried so deeply, you would have to dig for weeks to find it." "Yes," said Eragon delightedly. "But as long as it's there, I can get it. Watch." He deepened the hole and then mentally accessed the magic. Instead of changing the dirt into water, he simply summoned forth the moisture that was already in the earth. With a faint trickle, the water rushed into the hole. He smiled and sipped from it, and the liquid was cool and pure, perfect for drinking. "See, we can get all we need." Saphira sniffed the pool. "Here, yes, but in the desert, there may not be enough water in the ground for you to bring to the surface." "It'll work," Eragon assured her. "All I'm doing is lifting water, an easy enough task. As long as it's done slowly, my strength will hold. Even if I have to draw the water from 50 paces down, it won't be a problem, especially if you help me." Saphira looked at him dubiously. "Are you sure? Think carefully upon your answer, for it will mean our lives if you are wrong." Eragon hesitated and then said firmly, "I'm sure. And go tell Murtaugh I will keep watch while you sleep." "But you stayed up all night like us," he objected. "You should rest." "I'll be fine. I'm stronger than you know," she said gently. Her scales rustled as she curled up with a watchful eye turned northward towards their pursuers. Eragon hugged her, and she hummed deeply, sides vibrating. "Go." He lingered and then reluctantly returned to Murtaugh, who asked, "Well, is the desert open to us?" "It is," acknowledged Eragon. He flopped onto his blanket and explained what he had learned. When he finished, Eragon turned to the elf. Her face was the last thing he saw before he fell asleep. And so ends Water and Sand. I'm a bit late, but I'm here. Clifford, it's wonderful to see you, my friend. Welcome in. And you're not terribly late. We still got about another hour to go. Well, about another hour and a half, actually, if I'm being honest. We got some time. I'll be listening, but I have to drive from Cincy to at least Nashville, so hopefully I can listen most of the way. Just be safe, Marina. Drive carefully, drive quickly but safely to get to your destination. So yeah, I don't think that we need to run ads just yet. No, we got 30 whole minutes. It's more than enough time. I think we can power through another chapter, honestly. Cilantro, friends. Taking a tiny sip there. I'm going to need to make my escape now. I'm training a new driver this week. Frost, absolutely understandable. I think I'm going to do one more chapter then, and then we'll head off. I know I said I was going to try and be on a bit later tonight, but I know that I was on late this evening. So I will attempt to be on at like 4:35 on Thursday, and we'll do an extra long Feist night. Feist night. It's Feist night! So have a good night, Frost, and we will see you on the morrow, my friend. Be safe, be well, and may you rest and rise tomorrow ready to face the day, and may all things you seek to conquer fall before you, my friend. Have a good night. This is my least favorite time of the day. I hate leaving the tavern. I feel you there, my friend. I feel you there. But you can always take heart knowing that you're going to be back real soon, and that we'll miss you the entire time you're gone. I think this next chapter is not... Yeah, this next chapter is not terribly long. Yeah, so we're gonna do one more, and this should be about another 30 minutes worth of story time, and then we'll end up there. The Rama River. They forced themselves to rise early in the grey pre-dawn hours. Eragon shivered in the cool air. How are we going to transport the elf? She can't ride on Saphira's back much longer without getting sores from her scales. Saphira can't carry her with her claws. It tires her and makes landing dangerous. A sledge won't work. It would batter her to pieces while we ride. And I don't want the horses slowed by the weight of another person. Murtaugh considered the matter as he settled Tornak. If you were to ride Saphira, we could lash the elf onto Snowfire, but then we'd have the same problem with sores. I have a solution, said Saphira unexpectedly. Why don't you tie the elf to my belly? I'll still be able to move freely, and she will be safer than anywhere else. The only danger would be if soldiers shoot arrows at me, but I can easily fly above those. None of them could come up with a better idea, so they quickly adopted hers. Eragon folded one of the blankets in a half lengthwise to secure it around the elf's petite form, then took it to Saphira. The blankets, spare clothes, were sacrificed to form ropes long enough to encircle Saphira's girth. With those ropes, the elf was tied back first against Saphira's belly, with her head between Saphira's front legs. Eragon looked critically at their handiwork. I'm afraid your scales may rub through the ropes. We'll have to check them occasionally for fraying, commented Murtaugh. Shall we go now? Saphira asked, and Eragon repeated the questions. Murtaugh's eyes sparked dangerously, a tight smile lifting his lips. He glanced back at the way they had come, where smoke from soldiers' camps was clearly visible, and said, I always did like races, and now we're in one for our lives. Murtaugh swung onto Tornak's saddle and trotted out of the camp, and Eragon followed close behind on Snowfire. Saphira jumped into the air with the elf and She flew low to the ground to avoid being seen by the soldiers. In this fashion, the three of them made their way southeast toward the distant Haderach desert. Eragon kept a quick eye out for pursuers as they rode. His mind repeatedly wandered back to the elf. An elf. He had actually seen one, and she was with them. He wondered what Roran would think of that. It struck him that if he ever returned to Carverhall, he would have a hard time convincing anyone that his adventures had actually occurred. For the rest of the day, Eragon and Murtaugh sped through the land, ignoring discomfort and fatigue. They drove the horses as hard as they could without killing them. Sometimes they dismounted and ran on foot to give Tornak and Snowfire a rest. Only twice did they stop, both times to let the horses eat and drink. Though the soldiers of Gilead were far behind now, Eragon and Murtaugh found themselves having to avoid new soldiers every time they passed a town or village. Somehow the alarm had been sent ahead of them. Twice they were nearly ambushed along the trail, escaping only because Saphira happened to smell men ahead of them. After the second incident, they avoided the trail entirely. Dusk softened the countryside as evening drew a black cloak across the sky. Through the night they travelled, relentlessly pacing out the miles. In the deepest hours of night, the ground rose beneath them to form new, low cactus-dotted hills. Murtaugh pointed forward. There's a town, Bullridge, some leagues ahead that we must bypass. They're sure to have soldiers watching for us. We should try to slip past them now while it's dark. After 3 hours, they saw the straw yellow lanterns of Bullridge. A web of soldiers patrolled between the watchfires scattered around the town. Eragon and Murtaugh muffled their swords, sheaths, and carefully dismounted. They led the horses in a wide detour around Bullridge, listening attentively to avoid stumbling into an encampment. With the town behind them, Eragon relaxed slightly. Daybreak finally flooded the sky with a delicate blush and warmed the chilly night air. They halted on the crest of a hill to observe their surroundings. The Ramo River was to their left, but it was also 5 miles to their right. The river continued south for several leagues, then doubled back on itself into a narrow loop before curving west. They had covered over 16 leagues in one day. Laid up. Sluts. Nightfall found them worn. Oh, hang on. Eragon leaned against Snowfire's neck, happy with the distance they had gone. Let's find a gully or a hollow where we can sleep undisturbed. They stopped at a small stand of juniper trees, laid their blankets beneath them. Saphira waited patiently as they untied the elf from her belly. I'll take first watch and wake you at mid-morning, said Murtaugh, setting his bare sword across his knees. Eragon mumbled his assent and pulled the blankets over his shoulders. Nightfall found them worn and drowsy, but determined to continue. As they prepared to leave, Saphira observed to Eragon.
This is the 3rd night since we've rescued you from Gilead, and the elf still hasn't woken. I'm worried, and,
she continued,
she has neither drank nor eaten in that time. I know little of elves, but she is slender, and I doubt she can survive much longer without nourishment.
What's wrong? Asked Murtaugh over Tornok's back. The elf, said Eragon, looking down at her. Saphira is troubled. That she hasn't woken or eaten. It disturbs me too. I healed her wounds, at least on the surface, but it doesn't seem to have done her any good. Maybe the shade tampered with her mind, suggested Murtaugh.
Then we have to help her.
Murtaugh knelt by the elf,
He examined her intently and then shook his head and stood. As far as I can tell, she's only sleeping. It seems as if I could wake her with a word or a touch, yet she slumbers on. A coma might be something else self-induced to escape pain of injury. If so, why doesn't she end it? There's no danger to her now. Does she know that? Asked Eragon quietly. Murtaugh put a hand on his shoulder. This must wait. We have to leave now or risk losing our hard-won lead. You can tend to her later when we stop. Come lay down. Come lay down. Here. Coda, come. Lay down. Come on. Slats. Here. Slats. The boom boom's outside, he's getting scared. Saga the Spellweaver, greetings. Mega King, hello. You're not gonna get on my lap, stop it. You're not gonna get on my lap, stop it. You're not gonna get on my lap, stop it. Stop. You are too big for that, stop it. Stop. You are not gonna get on my lap, Coda, stop. Mega King, hello, hello, good to see you. I just come back in and only get one and a little more chapter. I'm going to have to pay attention from now on. It's alright. Long day tomorrow because the kiddo's having a band trip. So I will say, got that stuff going. He says, good night, Emerald's lady. Good night, Jody. Rest well. And I hope that you have a good day with the little ones tomorrow. You're fine. Lay down. Slats. Coda. Slats. You're not going to get on my lap. Lay down. I might have burned lack and cheese. But lapdog, he is a teeny weeny puppy. He is not a teeny weeny puppy. Yeah, well, it's Coda who wants on my lap. Because there's boom booms going on outside. There's fireworks. And he's over here shivering like a leaf. You're fine. They're outside. Promise they're not going to get you. Lay down. Lay down. They're not going to get you, I promise. Slats. I promise you're going to be okay. You're not allowed on my lap. I'm sorry. He's the smallest and goodest of boys. He just needs a snuggle. Yeah, he's a 90-pound monster with claws like a friggin' harpy. Because he doesn't let us trim his claws. No. No. 9. Not gonna happen. Just lay down. It's not gonna happen, dude. Just go lay down. It's no. No. Yeah, I usually have to take the grinder to his tongue, and he screeches like he's being tortured. You think he was dying when he's getting his nails trimmed. It's hilarious. Don't you? You big wuss. No. I understand you don't like the boom booms. Nobody likes them. It would take the screen. Well, he'll try to bite Una. He won't bite me because he knows better, but he'll try to bite Una for sure. He's a shepherd dog, man. Yeah, he's shepherd and husky. Very vocal. Likes to whine a lot. Lay down. Coda, lay down. Slats. 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 What did I say? What did I just say? Slats. Lay down. Slats. You heard what I said. I'm gonna beat your butt. Pain in my butt. What you are. Bonnie! Hello! Long time no see. Welcome in.
We're just in the midst of a chapter, and then the dog was interrupting me because there's boom booms going on inside. Chip only will bite for his nails, everything else he's great for. I can touch his nails finally without any founding. It's taken 6 years to get there, though. If I hold him down, and I'm taking care of whatever needs to be taken care of, generally he's fine. If he's hurt, he'll nip at me. But he doesn't growl, and he will try to bite Una or the boy if they do something, but it's very rare. Like, he's not generally a biter. He's very well trained, very docile. But if he thinks he's going to get hurt, he'll snap. Pretty much everyone with me but me. Samantha! It's so very good to see you. Welcome in. Vonnie, also hello. So very glad you could join us. Also realized I didn't have YouTube back up. There it is. Okay. Alright, where was I? One thing first, said Eragon. He soaked a rag, then squeezed the cloth so water dripped between the elf's sculpted lips. He did that several times and dabbed above her straight-angled eyebrows, feeling oddly protective. They headed through the hills, avoiding the tops, for fear of being spotted by sentries. Saphira stayed with them on the ground for the same reason. Despite her bulk, she was stealthy. Only her tail could... Dog, stop it. Stop. Because you're gonna get up here, and then you're gonna squirm every time there's another boom boom. This is what happens. It's what happened the last time I let you up here. That's what happens every time I let you up here. So no. No. Lay down. You're safe and you're fine. Lay down. There's nothing more I can do. I'm not going to let your big hairy butt up on top of me so that you can scratch me up and knock things off the desk. Because you don't feel safer up here. You still wiggle around and act like a jerk when you're up here. So no. You can either go to the boy and be in his room, or you can lay down where you are. You need to stop. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Sluts. This dog, I swear. Yeah, he's just... He gets to be such a baby when there are fireworks going off. And he'll try to jump on the lady, and he doesn't feel safer when he's on top of somebody, because he just continues to squirm and move. Like an absolute butthead. Alright, where was I? Despite her bulk, she was stealthy. Only her tail could be heard scraping on the ground like a thick blue snake. Eventually, the sky brightened in the east. The morning star, Adel, appeared as they reached the edge of a steep bank covered with mounds of brush. Water roared below as it tore over boulders and sluiced through the branches. The Rama, said Eragon over the noise. Murton nodded. Yeah. We have to find a place to ford safely. It isn't necessary, said Saphira. I can carry you across, no matter how wide the river is. Eragon looked up at her
blue-grey form. What about the horses? We can't leave them behind. They're too heavy for you to lift. As long as you're not on them and they don't struggle too much, I'm sure I can carry them. If I can dodge arrows with 3 people on my back, I'm certain I can fly a horse in a straight line over a river.
Saphira getting sassy in here. I believe you, but let's not attempt it unless we have to. It's too dangerous. She clambered down the embankment.
Can't afford to squander time here.
Eragon followed her, leading Snowfire. The bank came to an abrupt end at the Rammer, where the river ran dark and swift. White mist wafted up from the water, like blood steaming in winter. It was impossible to see the far side. Murtaugh tossed a branch into the torrent and watched it race away, bobbing in the rough water.
How deep do you think it is?
Asked Eragon.
I can't tell,
said Murtaugh, worry colouring his voice.
Can you see how far across it is with your magic?
I don't think so. Not without lighting up this place like a beacon. With a gust of air, Saphira took off and soared over the Rammer. A short time, she said.
I'm on the other bank. The river is over half a mile wide. You couldn't have chosen a worse place to cross. The Ramar bends at this point, and it is at its widest.
"Half a mile!" exclaimed Eragon. He told Murtaugh about Saphira's offer to fly them. "I'd rather not try for the horse's sake. Tornak isn't accustomed to Saphira or Snowfire. He might panic and injure them both. Ask Saphira to look for shallows where we can swim over safely. If they aren't within a mile in either direction, then I suppose she can ferry us." At Eragon's request, Saphira agreed to search for a fjord. While she explored, they hunkered next to the horses and ate dry bread. It was not long before Saphira returned. Her velvet wings whispering in the early dawn sky.
The water is both deep and strong, upstream as well as downstream.
Once he was told, Murtaugh said, "I better go over first, so I can watch the horses." He scrambled into Saphira's saddle. "Be careful with Tornak. I've had him for many years. I don't want anything to happen to him." Then Saphira took off. When she returned, the unconscious elf had been untied from her belly. Eragon led Tornak to Saphira. Ignoring the horse's low whinnies, Saphira reared back on her haunches, grasped the horse around his belly with her forelegs. Eragon eyed her formidable claws. "Wait!" He repositioned Tornak's saddle blanket and strapped it to the horse's belly, so it protected his soft underside, then gestured for Saphira to proceed. Tornak snorted in fright and tried to bolt when Saphira's forelegs clamped around his sides, but she held him tightly. The horse rolled his eyes wildly, the whites rimming his dilated pupils. Eragon tried to gentle Tornak with his mind, but the horse's panic resisted his touch. Before Tornak could try to escape again, Saphira jumped skyward. Her hind legs thrust with so much force that her claws gouged the rocks underneath. Her wings strained furiously, struggling to lift the enormous load. For a moment, it seemed she would fall back to the ground. Then, with a lunge, she shot into the air. Tornak screamed in terror, kicking and tossing. It was a terrible sound, like screeching metal. Eragon swore, wondering if anyone was close enough to hear. "You better hurry, Saphira." He listened for soldiers as he waited, scanning the inky landscape for a telltale flash of torches. It soon met his eyes in a line of horsemen sliding down the bluff almost a league away. As Saphira landed, Eragon brought Snowfire to her.
Murtaugh's silly animal is in hysterics. He had to tie Tornak to prevent him from running away. She gripped Snowfire and carried him off, ignoring the horse's trumpeted protestations. Eragon watched her go, feeling lonely in the night. The horsemen were only a mile away. Finally, Saphira came for him, and they were soon on firm ground once more, with the rammer at their backs. Once the horses were calmed and the saddles readjusted, they resumed their flight towards the Beor Mountains. The air filled with calls of birds waking to a new day. Eragon dozed even when walking. He was barely aware that Murtaugh was just as drowsy. There were times when neither of them guided the horses, and it was only Saphira's vigilance that kept them on course. Eventually, the ground became soft and gave way under their feet, forcing them to halt. The sun was high overhead. The Ramard River was no more than a fuzzy line behind them. They had reached the Haderach Desert. Best story voice, best stories. Oh, you flatter me, Vonnie. Thank you kindly. And so ends the Ramard River. We're getting pretty close to the end here, friends. We don't really have all that much longer to go. Let's see. We've got 167 pages left. And we've been averaging about 40 pages of story time. So that's not really all that many. We've got maybe 6 more weeks of Eragon before we'll have to do a different story. Or before we'll vote on a different story. On the other hand, we have not nearly that much left in Prince of the Blood. Let's see, we're at 230. $293. So 63 pages. So we have 100 more pages in Eragon than we do, and which is not surprising. They are substantially different sized books. While this one is taller. No, not terribly. It's a little bit taller. It's a slightly taller and wider book, but not by much, not by any meaningful margin. But it is obviously a lot thinner by this way. We'll have to decide what our next adult Storytime book is going to be. We haven't quite got there yet. Yeah, we're going to have to. The lady and I will put together a poll on what the next book is going to be. Oh, damn it. I wasn't paying attention and TikTok ended. When did it end? 1918. Oh, it ended a bit ago. Well, what a bummer. I don't know. So we've had quite a few on the docket. I need to go through our list of family-friendly books because we already powered through all the way through Harry Potter. I think we have Ink Spell on the docket, which is the next book in the Ink Heart series, and then we have maybe Golden Compass. I think might still be on there, and the font sizes can make a big difference too. I don't think they're drastically different. Let's see. That's probably about a 12 points. And this is, yeah, they're both 12 point. So they're similar in size.
But yeah, we've had Inkspell on the docket for a while because we already did Ink Hot, and we haven't done Inkspell yet. We have some more Tolkien. I don't think Tolkien would work for the family-friendly night, unless it was The Hobbit. Unless we want to go back and do The Hobbit again. But we just did The Hobbit for the readathon, so I don't think that would be appropriate. I'll have to look at what else is on the docket. We might do the next Eragon book. We might do Myrtle. Samantha, thank you for the stars. I didn't get the notification, but thank you for the 99 stars. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. And Vonnie, thank you for the 20 stars. Again, tips to the Tavern Keeper, are appreciated. Thank you kindly, my friends. The book after Prince of the Blood is The King's Buccaneer, and it centers around Boric and Erlang. Yeah, we have that one. Oh, it's all the way on the bottom. The lady picked up a bunch of the Feist paperbacks because she found them on sale at one of our book rescues. So she got a bunch of them. Because we got Daughter of the Empire by Feist. We got Servant of the Empire by Feist. And Jenny Wirtz. So I assume that these take place in the Empire of Kesh, if I had to guess. Oh no, it's Kelowon. These take place on the other side of the portal during the Rift Wars, I presume. And then we have the King's Buccaneer there in paperback. I might propose or even insist that we start my favorite series for the adult and take a break from Feist for a bit. I would need to get the first book in the series though, because this is the second book. It's called The Dragon Knight, and it's by Gordon R. Dixon. But the first book in the series is called The Dragon and the George, and it's very good. Or at least, I haven't read it in a long time. It might not be very good, but I liked it when I was younger. Because like even with Eragon, I'm reading through Eragon and I'm realizing that there are some bits of the writing that aren't as good as I remember them being. But I love The Dragon and the George. We can put the Dragonlance series, the Dragonlance books on the list. Generally what happens is I have you guys recommend lists of books, and then we'll have like a general discussion about what books are the most desired to be read. Because like we have the Dritz Erden books, we have the other family friendly ones are the Dragon Riders of Pern. That was the other family friendly one that we had that was on the list for the family friendly books. This would be more of an adult book. It deals with a little bit more adult things. It's not quite as adult as Feist, but I don't think that it is. I don't think it would be good for family friendly because it's a little bit more advanced than that one. Maybe one of the Merlin stories. Yeah, we can add the Merlin stories on there. Vonnie, you like Dragon Knight? I rarely ever meet anyone who's read Dixon or Ben Bova's works. Because while they were fairly popular in the 80s and 90s, their work didn't really get any attention in the 2000s, and they didn't really get any TV shows or movies or anything. So they just kind of dropped off, and then nothing really came of it, which is sad, because they do have good books. I do also think that somebody had some sci-fi on the list that they wanted us to do. I think somebody had said Dune. I don't think I want to get into Dune. Dune has so many books and it's so confusing and so convoluted. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into we'll get into the new vote soon. Because we're gonna need a new adult book probably in the next 3 weeks, because that's 30. Yeah, in the next 3 weeks we're gonna need to pick a new adult book. Dune has over 25 books. About how many outlines I've plotted. Yeah. Well, and the big issue with Dune is that Dune is just really convoluted. Like, at least with Feist's work, like, it's fairly concise. Like, there is a lot of politics and intrigue in Feist's work, but good God, with Dune, there's just so much that goes on. Like, in addition to the books, you also have to read, like, all of the branch-off books that explain all of, like, the lore and, like, the emperors that got turned into worms and all this other crap. Like, there's just so much to Dune. I've only read 4 of the Dune books, and I read them like 20 years ago. And I didn't continue because they just got to be so confusing. And I'm sure they're good. I know a lot of people like them, but they're just so convoluted. I should hope not, Maddie. Nobody likes convoluted books. I'm sure some people like convoluted books. But you can have an intricate world, like, Tolkien's world is super intricate, and I don't want to hold everybody to the Tolkien standard. Nobody has ever written a world as well as Tolkien has, and I doubt anybody will at any time in the near future. Dune is not read aloud friendly. It even has a new language in the books. Right, yeah. But I've had people request Dune. I don't know that I want to get into Dune, but we have the Dritz Erden books. We have Dragon Riders of Pern. That's a family-friendly one. We have... Somebody had wanted the Spiderwick Chronicles. I don't know that I have any of the Spiderwick Chronicles in print. We have the Stormlight Archives and Brandon Sanderson's books. Some people have been wanting us to do Mistborn, start with Mistborn in Brandon Sanderson. I've never read any of Sanderson's books. So if we start Sanderson's books at any point, that'll be a fresh one for me. I agree a million pieces, Black Dragon Tavern. Thanks, Samantha. I want to make a fantasy novel from a gnome's perspective. Would be interesting. It would be interesting. I remember constantly checking the dictionary in the back. Yeah, like, if you're going to add a language, like, if you read Lord of the Rings, you never have to really go and look for what the words that are being used mean, because the context tells the story. Dune doesn't do that. Dune is like a school book. It forces you to go and learn about the world so you can understand what's going on. I mean, in my stories, I'm not making the side stories mandatory. Side stories give context to certain parts, but even then... Well, and that's really how it should be. Like, if you're going to have a world, your world needs to feel super interconnected, but you can't have it so interconnected and so reliant on every other thing that I have to know this thing and that thing in order to understand this thing. Because that's just bad writing. It's not bad writing, it's just not good writing. I read a StarCraft novel a long time ago, and I wish I could remember the name. Yeah, well, and then there's that. Like, a lot of people want us to start the Warhammer books, and I've had a couple of requests for the StarCraft novels. So there's a lot. There's a lot that we can do. So you guys will have to pick when the time comes. I think we could probably do the vote probably next week. So if you're not already in the guild over in the Discord, we'll probably put out the vote for the new adult Storytime book in the next week. We'll start a conversation this week. Let's start a conversation this week about what books we want to see for Storytime. And then based on that conversation, we'll do the usual, we'll add 4 in, and the top voted is the one that will get picked for the next adult Storytime. And don't be afraid to recommend books either. We never would have started Feist if Spearsy, who's not even with us anymore, and Herring and Bear hadn't advocated for it, and it's been one of the favourites. Yay, vote time, yeah. Like in my third book, Clara's backstory is part of the main plot, and it references the outline for her own side story, but I still do I'll say what happened without saying it. Yeah. I'll drop a link for everybody into the guild so that anybody who wants to join can. Because we are going to be ending up here in just a moment. Ads in 5. And I don't want to make you guys watch any more ads, and since some of the regulars have already gone off to bed, I think we'll end here for the night. Since I gotta go record Storytime tonight and get them done for the morning. So I think we're gonna end here for tonight. It's 9:30 my time. It's later for almost everybody except for our Upside Down friends. So I think we're gonna end here for this evening. We'll go ahead and snooze the ads, and I'll raid you all out to someone else over on Twitch. And for now, this will be where we end for tonight. So for right now, I guess that this is where we will say goodnight, my friends. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you all. Frankenstein or Dracula, yeah. We've had a lot of requests for the classics. I think for the classics, I'm just going to do those as storybooks. Like, I'll do them as recorded story times so that we can have some more recent stuff for this. And then I will have the recorded stuff for later. Good Nacht. Schlaf gut. Good Nacht, Tyson. Always wonderful to see you. Thanks for reading, Castle. Good night, everyone. Thank you for being here. My throat is worn out for tonight, Petra. I'll give you guys extra songs on... I don't know why my throat is so dry tonight, but my throat is not good for the evening. I promise I'll give you guys extra songs on Thursday. We'll do 6 songs on Thursday. You guys can hold me to that. Of course, Bear, always lovely. Thank you to all of our brilliant barkeeps who help to keep us all safe. Thank you kindly, my friends. And thank you to all of you who came out this evening to share in Storytime with us. And to everyone new who joined us. We're so very glad to have you. And we look forward to seeing you back on Thursday. But until then, my friends, while it is sad that we must part, this is where we must. But we will gather again the next time that you all sing a story. So until then, I will bid you all stay bloodthirsty and have a good night. Sláinte.
Snow on the heather, smoke from the roofs. I stand on the ridgeline, breathing the proof. Sky like a pale bowl, frost in my hair.